Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. It's hard to believe, but another week has passed. It's time for another Saturday briefing. So I want to give you a shout out and hope you've had a good week. Sonja and I had a great week. It's been a busy week with a lot of travel. As I mentioned last week, we've got our oldest teenager, our oldest granddaughter, who is a teenager, in the house. And so we took her out to see some of the sights in our beautiful part of the world. We took her over to Yellowstone and had a wonderful time there. Went up into Idaho, spent the night in Idaho Falls. We'd never been to Idaho. Trinity wanted to get in as many states as she could. So we went there and enjoyed that and stopped in a little town that night. I can't remember the name of it, but had one of the best burgers we've ever had. A little small town, a little diner that was open. And anyway, made our way to Idaho Falls, and then the next day we slid down into the Grand Tetons, and that's one of my favorites. It's just a wonderful national park. Spent the day there, then went down to Wyoming. It saw some incredible beauty there. It was just amazing, and I stayed in Casper, Wyoming that night, and then slid down into South Dakota, made our way back up to Bismarck. And so a lot of travel in just a few days, but she got out and saw some sights that really most people never see in their life. And so it was a joy showing off our beautiful part of the world to her. And then back in the office and had a great week, talked to a number of you and good reports. And so God bless you for the great job you're doing. And I pray that you have a great day tomorrow. Let me bring you up to date on some of the things that's happening in the region. This upcoming week on the ministerial team, we have a birthday and we have a wedding. So the birthday is Sister Devon Beckman, who is our prayer commissioner for North Dakota and also on the ministerial staff of the Great West Minot Church. But Sister Devon is going to be turning 16 or so on July the 28th. And so happy birthday a little early, Sister Devon. I pray that you have a great day. And let your husband listen to this so maybe he'll be reminded it's your birthday and get you something, take you out to dinner, get you a nice gift or something. But anyway, then we have a wedding on August the 1st. Next Saturday, we have a wedding. Pastor Julien Norwood, our pastor there at the Big Life Church. She's marrying a wonderful Christian gentleman by the name of Coyle Cooper. And so congratulations to you both. And I pray that you have a great day at your wedding and look forward to getting to know you, Brother Coyle, and welcoming you to our great region. And wish you both the very best. Then we do have 3 important dates coming up in August here, and I mentioned them last week, and so I won't say a lot about them today. But I will mention again that youth camp is up and running. Pastor Chris, our regional youth director, he and Krista were in the office yesterday, worked all day long processing applications, and he tells me things are looking good. He's been in touch with Crystal Springs, which is, as you know, a first-class operation. They are going over the top and making sure that our children will be safe and our workers will be safe. And so right now we're ramping up and everything's on go, and I feel good about it. I believe we're going to have a great week, and our kids need it and we need it, and so it's going to be great. And so just be reminded of that. And if you have any questions, Brother Chris, of course, is available to bring you up to date on any last minute questions that you may have. And then I'll send you some information this coming week on the regional prayer call, which is August the 13th, 7:30 p.m. This is for ministers and laity, a great way to bring us all together as we pray for our region and the needs around the world. Then August the 25th is a lead pastor or senior pastor, lead pastor only Zoom call, and I'll be and you and your spouse, and so we'll be meeting at 7:30 via Zoom, and I'll be getting information out to you on that as well. So mark your calendars for those important dates. But anyway, I don't have a lesson per se that I want to share with you today, but I do have a single thought, and it kind of came around from a very satisfying call that I got earlier this week, just a couple of days ago. And it was from a lady that I'd served as her pastor for many years. And it was one of those, and I don't mean it in a bad way at all, but it was one of those high maintenance kind of relationships, serving as her pastor. And not because I didn't care about her and she wasn't a good woman at all, but it was because of, by her own admission, such deep brokenness that went all the way back to her childhood. And so there was just, you take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back sometimes. It was that kind of just God, help us here. And so, but we hung in there and loved her and cared for her, Sonja and I both. And I've stayed in touch with her since I left the pastorate there. And so anyway, a few days ago, got a call, and there was excitement on the line. She said, "Oh, Pastor, I wanted to call. I wanted you to know. I think I finally figured it out." And I said, "Well, tell me about it." And she had been reading John chapter 4 about the woman at the well. And she says, I've finally realized that nobody in this world can meet my needs. That nobody can satisfy. Only Jesus, that living water that only Jesus can give. And she had worked so hard because of her brokenness, needing to be affirmed, needing to be accepted. It was just almost an empty, a black hole of need, of needing affirmation. And I could tell the sound in her voice. And I shared with her, I said, "Man, this is so exciting. Honestly, you have learned the most important lesson of Christianity. It's not about do or don't do. We do things and don't do things, but it's all motivated by love. There's no way we could, the gospel of grace. I'm preaching to the choir here, but the gospel of grace and that only Jesus can satisfy." And so it was a very rewarding call. But here's the irony of it. Just a couple applications I want to share with you. Here's the irony of it. While I was her pastor, I preached through the Gospel of John, and did a whole long series out of John chapter 4, the woman of the well. And that was the message. She got the message. She just got it about 5 or 10 years later. And she got the message, and I had preached through that John chapter 4. And then I preached another long series out of Philippians. And I especially hammered on there where Paul said all these things. I was a Hebrew of Hebrews. You know the passage. Again, I'm preaching to preachers here. And he says, I gave up all those things, counted them as worthless, as rubbish, that I may know Jesus Christ. And so I really hammered on that and did a long series on that and kept calling my people. Honestly, I'm not speaking evangelistically here. I must have said 100 times or more that only Jesus can satisfy you, and you must make him the paramount priority, passion, and pursuit of your life. And I'd hammer on that alliteration. You must make him the paramount passion and priority and pursuit of your life. And then after all those years, she'd heard all those sermons, and then this week she finally got it. Now here's the 2 applications that I want to make. Don't grow weary in well doing. They'll get it. Sometimes it takes a while. And the deeper the brokenness, sometimes the longer it takes. And you may not be the direct person when the time comes. You may be the one that planted the seed or did the watering. But one day, don't give up on anybody. They'll get it. And it'll be so rewarding when they do. But here's the second thing, and the main thing that I want to leave with you. We often feel this pressure on us. We call it the Great Commission. And it is true that we are to go into all the world and make disciples. And so every minister has kind of a global commission, really every Christian. But we ministers feel it so much, and we feel, am I making a difference? And then we feel this pressure to reach our community and impact our city, and we'll make statements or hear people make statements and kind of a little twinge of guilt. If your church burned down, would anybody even miss it? Would anybody even know? And we feel this guilt that am I doing enough to reach my city, to reach my community? And then we feel this pressure to constantly be growing our church and get it bigger and bigger and better and better and bigger and bigger and better and better. And so this relentless pursuit of growth. And none of this is wrong. We are to have a worldwide burden. We are to want to impact our city, and we should want our church to grow. But if you study the life of Jesus, there were times that he was moved, he'd see the multitude, and he was moved with compassion. There was a time that he looked over Jerusalem, the city, and he wept. But do you know that most of his ministry was one person at a time? Most of his teachings were the result of a response to one person at a time. He called his disciples one at a time. You and I can do that. Ministry is about touching people one person at a time. I doubt over in China or down in South America or maybe over in Europe somewhere, they're probably not thinking. There's not going to be many, if any, that are going to be thinking about you this week. In your city, you may not be a mover and shaker. You may not have the governor or the mayor's mobile number. They may not have yours and don't care. You may not be a mover and shaker. Right now, you may just be hanging on just with the pandemic and everything that's going on and all the summer scheduling, people scattering to go and do their thing. You may feel like you're losing ground even with your church. Growing a church is not the issue. Just, will my church survive COVID-19? And you may feel like you're losing. You may feel like you're a failure. But brothers and sisters, I want you to know you are making a difference. One person at a time. One person at a time. I remember my pastor when I was 8 years old, and he preached the gospel to me one Sunday night. I don't know who was there. I don't know how many were there. But I know that message reached me, and I gave my heart to the Lord. One little boy, one little 8-year-old boy in Walhalla, South Carolina, those many years ago, I went down to the altar, and I got it. It made the difference. That minister, I don't know what else he achieved in his life, but he touched me. That's made all the difference. Brothers and sisters, you're doing the same, one person at a time. Don't give up. Don't grow weary. You are winning, one person at a time. God bless you. Let's keep running to win, one person at a time. I love and honor you and count it a privilege to be on the great NCR team. Have a great Sunday. We'll see you soon.